Okay. Oh, okay. Cool. So now we're recording.
All right, so welcome to English Without Borders Thursday webinar series, and we welcome so many teachers who are joining our today's webinar via Facebook, via Zoom, and we are so excited to welcome all of you, and we are double happy to introduce our speaker today. So today we have a special speaker, Mr. Mitchell R. Bradford Jr., and today he's going to talk about AI in English language teaching, over-reliant, over-trusted, misused. Such a very questionable, yes, and disputable topic nowadays. And of course, we welcome your active engagement during the webinar, and we kindly ask all the audience who are watching us from Zoom or Facebook to put your questions in the chat box or comment box. So after the presentation, we'll give the floor to Q&A, and of course, our speaker will respond. And we are very happy to see Mr. Mitchell joining from China.
Oh yeah,
Welcome.
yeah.
Yeah, welcome to
Hey guys.
Tajikistan virtually. And of course, we call this as the webinar investment time in professional development. And even 1 hour, yeah, one step at a time, makes really good results at the end. And we hope that throughout these Thursday webinars, the educators and teachers will be able to learn fresh from the field and also refresh their knowledge. And let me share some information about speaker today. Mitchell Bradford Jr. is an English instructor and teacher trainer who currently teaches English for academic purposes at the University of Waikato Joint Institute of Hangzhou City University in China, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, with
Yeah,
pronunciation. Where he
there's a link
served
to
as
go on
a
there.
reading and writing course leader. He previously served as a virtual educator with Taras Shevchenko National University of Kiev in Ukraine. Additionally, Mitchell has worked as transnational tertiary program in China for several years, as well as taught in the US. In that capacity, he has worked with local teachers to introduce innovative teaching techniques and theories. Mitchell obtained his MA TESOL from the University of Nottingham, Ningbo, China, and is currently conducting doctoral studies in TESOL with the University of St. Andrews, Scotland, with a focus on the challenges and coping strategies of the EAP teachers at Sino foreign tertiary programs, along with teacher training and development. His research has been related to EAP, AI, virtual education, and intercultural communication, for which he has published articles in both English and Spanish. Mitchell has given teacher training workshops and presented research throughout much of the world, having presented in Cambodia, China, Thailand, and the US, as well as virtually for conferences in Qatar and Spain. So impressive. Thank you, Mr. Mitchell, for volunteering to deliver a webinar with English with Alvarez Network. And with great pleasure, I'm giving the floor over to you. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you so much, Mr. Siva. All right, sweet. Yeah. I am still like, so when people introduce me, I don't think I'm that important at all. I'm used to doing myself. Okay, cool, you guys. So I saw some folks already putting stuff in the chat. Y'all go ahead and do that. Let me go ahead and get started because we're gonna do a good bit of stuff today, but it's gonna be some pretty cool stuff. But anyway, so today's the title is AI and ELT. Is it over? And then the question about over-reliant, over-trusted, misused. So we're pretty much going to be looking at the student side of stuff today. Later this year, I'll be back doing one more for teacher side. We'll do a little bit of teacher stuff today. But yes, once again, my name is Mitchell R. Bradford Jr. Yeah, I have a little bit about myself as well. There's my Instagram. If you guys want my Instagram, I'll share my other stuff later. All right, but anyway, so I'm from Newburgh, Arkansas in the US. So I am from the South. So I have a little bit of a Southern accent. I grew up on horses and cows, all that stuff. Right now I'm working at a university in Hangzhou, China. I am in charge of the writing course, an EAP writing course. I am over I think 5 teachers, and around 200 students are under me. I teach 60 about 60 of them, and I'm over really 200 of the students at my university for their writing and reading. Um, I'm also currently an English language specialist with the U.S. Department of State's Regional English Language Office. I'm kind of with the folks in Beijing now, so I work with them. I recently accepted to be a fellow, so in a couple of months I'll be switching jobs. I'm still in the same city, but different job, so that'll be interesting. I'm also doing my doctorate in TESOL with the University of St. Andrews, which is in Scotland. So that's pretty cool and interesting being an American studying with Scotland while working in China. It's all over the place. There's my email. I will share it later for you guys as well. But cool. All right, so all this AI stuff was based on the research that I did last year. I had 109 teachers, over 500 students from 28 different universities in China. Here's kind of how I did it. There were surveys with all these guys, and then there's also interviews, t interviews with 10 students, 10 teachers. It was a big, big study. Um, and I actually was able to get stuff published. There's how they got published. But one of the main things that came up was AI. AI started to become a thing, 2 years ago. But last year is when it started to become a thing that teachers and students started to really, really worry about or had questions about. And so then that's why I started doing this kind of stuff about looking at workshop and researching AI. That's how this came about. Now, this year is really chaotic. So it's just grown over the last year. But anyway, so that's kind of the background of how we got to where we are today with this. So here's our outline for today. We're going to look at why students use AI, why our students use AI, and it's kind of the same for students, regardless of if you're at university or high school or maybe even middle school. Ways to help the students. Now, this can go with students of any level. In China, there's talk about having students in kindergarten start using AI to start getting them trained with how to use AI. Also, here's some of this coming from the US. How real that is, I don't know. I have a daughter in kindergarten. She can't even read. I don't know how she's going to use AI, but whatever. And then if we have time, which I think we ought to, we're going to look at some little AI websites for teachers. Some like, here's a cool little tool. Here's a cool little tool. Here's how I use it. Here's how I show my students how to use it. All right. So first thing, we're going to use the chat box. Just you guys put in ideas in the chat box real quick. Why do students use AI? And I'll be looking in the chat box just to see what folks put. Let's do that for about a minute. So why do we think students use AI? I'm always on my phone in class because I always set timers for activities like this. So I'll give you all like a minute about, why do students use AI? Why do we think they use AI? I'm a student myself, actually. So why do I use AI? Make life easier, do tasks. I better ideas with AI. Yeah, pretty much like, I mean, now it's interesting for me because I'm a teacher at a university, but also I'm a student because I'm doing my doctorate, right? So why do I use AI? I use AI sometimes to help me, get ideas, to help me do research. Some of it is actually quite good for finding resources, like how you use your university library or Google Scholar. Help out with stuff like citations, stuff like that. All right, cool. So we have a couple ideas. Now, what we're gonna do now is we're going to actually look at what some students are saying. So I have a Padlet here. Um, so what this is a quotes from students. So quotes from students from the study that I did last year. And what we're gonna do is, I want you guys to have a look at them. Here's Padlet, and let me pull it up. It's this one here. So these are quotes from students. The U and all that stuff is just different universities and different students. But these are quotes from students about, the challenges that they have at university and stuff. What I want you guys to go do is kind of look at these for the next couple of minutes and give a heart, like, heart the ones that sound like your students. That you think, oh yeah, that sounds like what my students say, as well as like a comment. And the comments can be whatever you want, really. It can be about, why you think they feel this way, or also like your own stories, like, oh, my students feel like this way about it. Or it can just be, your thoughts in general about this quote from a student. So let's do this for a couple minutes, and then we'll come back together, and I'll kind of summarize what they are about and stuff. So let me set a timer for, a couple minutes, and then I'll read them for you guys, so it won't be totally silent. And if anybody has questions or whatever while we're doing this, y'all can go ahead and post them in the group, or y'all can talk to me if anybody wants to unmute themselves, if you can. I'm not sure. But yeah, no, this is quite a fun little thing to actually see what the students say and stuff. We see things like, I'm using it to help me read. I have difficulty understanding reading academic stuff in English. Or, there's a word I don't know, or, I don't know which word is appropriate. Or you have some students who are just lazy. And that's a big problem now in my university, where it's the point where students are just so lazy, they don't want to learn, they don't want to care, they don't try to figure stuff out. I hear that's also becoming quite a big thing in the US. You hear about them using it for writing purposes. Or then we have stuff like down here at the bottom row where we see stuff about maybe the teachers aren't providing them enough support, or they're talking like that. And then we have a kind of thing going on where it's like, is the teacher not helping the students enough, which could happen, which does happen at universities where I am in China. Some teachers are just not that great. Or is that thing where the teachers are trying to make the students be autonomous and trying to make the students figure it out by themselves and they'll do it by themselves. And then it's now to the point where the whole figure it out by yourself, do it by yourself thought, the way the students are interpreting that, or the way the students are handling that and doing it by themselves, is they're turning to AI, because AI can give them a real quick answer and, immediate feedback. They don't have to flip through a book. They don't have to search online for a reference or for how to cite something in APA format. They can just ask AI to do it for them. So that's pretty much what's happening. Alrighty. So that was 2 minutes of that. See some hearts, see some people thinking, oh yeah, that sounds like my student. Okay, cool. Now, let's head back to the PPT. So we already talked about all of that. Now, next thing to kind of discuss. So we see where students are using AI to help them do stuff. And the whole thing about, the teacher doesn't help me very much, or I don't get enough support. I have to figure out by myself. And then we see that kind of leading into, I'm going to use AI to help me. So then we get into trouble where students are using AI maybe too much, or they're using it in the wrong ways. They're just copying and pasting. They're not being critical about it. They're not evaluating it. They're not thinking, is this right? They're kind of trusting it blindly. Stuff like that. We also have it where students will have AI write essays for them. They'll submit those essays. So it's kind of what's called AI-gerism, or which is pretty much, AI plagiarism is the term for it by a author from China and stuff that I read about recently. So with all that, then it comes up to ideas about how can we help students use AI correctly or effectively? What can we do? What are some ideas that we can do to help with our students, to pretty much police them, but also help them use it right, ethically, correctly, effectively, not committing academic misconduct, not using it to cheat. So once again, let's throw stuff into the group chat and just what are some ideas you guys have? I have a couple of ideas, but what are some things you guys have about how we can help students use, AI correctly or effectively? Some things we can do with them, or what are some things that you guys have done with your students? Anybody have any ideas?
Dear all, you can unmute yourself and respond to the question as well, or you can type your answers in the comment box.
Oh yeah, you guys feel free to do whatever you like. If y'all guys want to unmute, go for it. If you guys want to, just do the chat, that's totally cool too. Whatever you guys want. You can show your faces if you want to. I'm cool with whatever. All right, we have Zarina. I believe I said that right. Correct me if I'm wrong. Talking about teaching them digital literacy. Practice it in the classroom. Yes, totally cool. So they're seeing lots of papers coming out about AI literacy. Ooh, good job, Zero. About understanding ourselves. Good. Being responsible on their own for their own study. Good. I'm currently doing like several AI research projects right now, kind of looking at these three things. All right, cool. Let's look at some of my ideas that I have down, which I've picked up from other people. My university's doing some of this, and yeah, other places are doing these as well. So here are some ideas about ensuring correct use of AI. One idea that there used to be is not really now, where AI checkers, like Quillbot has an AI checker, Turnitin used to have an AI checker, even OpenAI, the guys responsible for ChatGPT, had an AI checker. Um, those, I'm sorry, it's like that to PBL. Oh, that's a good, nice. That's nice from Freerus. I think I said it right. Sorry. But yeah, so in terms of AI checkers, these are not reliable. It's pretty much now AI competing against AI. AI is trying to trick AI while the AI is trying to catch the AI being used to write an essay. So now if you look at so OpenAI, the guys who made ChatGPT, they pulled their they pulled their AI checker because it wasn't accurate. It could not be accurate, so they stopped using it. The ChatGPT version, they stopped it. Quillbot, if you guys know Quillbot, it's you can use it to help you with your grammar or whatever, but also they have an AI checker. They have a caution thing at the bottom that tells you do not use us for deciding somebody's future or a big decision about work or their academic studies because we are not accurate. So AI checkers are kind of out the window. They're not accurate. Mind maps, drafts, and portfolios. Pretty much what this is what my university does. We have our students, instead of just writing an essay, they make a portfolio. Inside their portfolio, they have to include different things. One of the things they do is pretty much they start off by making a mind map. They take their ideas for their research topic. It can be like if you're doing compare and contrast, it's like a Venn diagram, and they just draw a picture. Okay. Or if you're doing advantages, disadvantages, you have like a T chart kind of thing, advantages, disadvantages. All right, that's pretty much it. There's a picture, there's a picture graphic, it's an infographic. They make that. And then they take that and make it into an essay or a paragraph at first, and then they make it to essays into drafts. Then they draft it, it goes to a portfolio, and then they go the next step and writing the final version based on teacher feedback. Now, what that does is helps us, my teachers at my university, we started doing this. This was one of the things I started at my university. It helps us see and track from the brainstorming process to the final submission. So we get to see the whole writing process. And what that does is like if there's something very, very different, if there's a major jump somewhere along the way, or something totally different, like what they have in their mind map is different than what they have in their final draft, then that means that they've done something different. Maybe they used AI to write for them, or they have completely different ideas. They messed up, something's wrong. So that kind of helps us track stuff. One thing that we have not started yet at my university, but I feel like we probably will, are oral defenses. And pretty much that's like Aviva, if you guys know what Aviva is, which is where you discuss your work or your ideas with a teacher or with a member of the staff. And pretty much what that is, the idea is if you used AI to write your essay for you, you would not be able to talk about your essay with a teacher. You won't be able to answer questions about where did you find this idea? How'd you come up with this idea? Where did you find this source? Why did you choose to do this and not this? How long did it take you to find this? How long did it take you to write your reference list? How long did it take you to write, this paragraph or think about this? If you're not able to talk about that, then that shows that you really didn't do it yourself, that somebody else did it, or in our case, AI did it. Also, it's quite fun to just talk about, what does this word mean? What does this word mean? What does this sentence mean? And if the students are not able to talk about it, pretty much it means that they used AI. Now, we could say they translated from, let's say, Chinese to English, but then technically translating is also AI because it's a machine doing something that a person would do. And so then it's not your English, it's the computer's English. So that's a problem. Now, finally, we can guide and monitor them, which some people were commenting earlier, guide and monitor the students. Pretty much encourage them to use AI correctly, discuss how they use it, have this kind of stuff going on in the classroom. This kind of leads into my next point, which is an overarching thing, which is AI focused training for students, which is where pretty much we plan kind of workshops or trainings or sessions like this. I pretty much did this with all 200 of my students a couple weeks ago. And pretty much we can do stuff like this, have a kind of an AI versus non-AI task, which is where I give students maybe a paragraph, two paragraphs. One is done by AI and one's done by a student. You need to figure out which one is which one's the student, which one's the AI, and then they grade them. That also goes with AI in the rubric, which we give them an AI text and they grade it based on the rubric. Or you can kind of put those two together, which is what I do. Pretty much I give students an AI text, one that's not AI. I tell them to grade it. And then we add up the grades and see, okay, this one's like 10 points better than this one. Okay, great. Which one do you guys think is AI? They of course think the one with the better grade is AI because it's the robot. The robot's never wrong. But then actually the AI is worse than the student one because it didn't follow the rubric. It doesn't know exactly what the teacher wants. So that's kind of one of those awareness raising things to try and help the students see not to just use AI because it doesn't know exactly what the teacher wants. That's quite fun to do with students. Also, there's quizzes and tasks we can do, which pretty much you have the students try to ask AI some questions and you discuss the answers they get. Um, yeah, and pretty much we're going to do that right now. So we're going to do this quiz. Now, this is how I would do it with my students. Pretty much you split the class in half. One half can use AI, one half cannot. And they can use any kind of AI. And this is quite fun in China because in China, there's like three or four kind of little AIs going on. There's DeepSeek, which is quite popular. There's Doubao, which I have not played with yet. And there's also Kimi. I do quite like Kimi. Okay, so those are okay to use in China. And then you have, of course, the Chat GPT, you have the Copilot from Bing, you have Gemini for Google and stuff like that. But of course, those ones are technically blocked in China. Yay. But anyway, the Chinese ones are fine. Now, I like this blue because I want to tell the students to use different kinds of AI. And it makes sense later. Anyway, but each half gets and does the same quiz. So they all had the same quiz. And it can be 10 questions, it can be 3 questions, however many questions you want. Today we're going to use 3. You give them time to complete it, complete the quiz, to answer the questions, and then you want them to kind of share the answers and compare with a partner, compare with other people. We can do that as a class. And then just discuss the differences that AI gave us, because there will be differences. And then we discuss our thoughts about AI, you know. All right, sweet. So we're going to do that as well. There's a Padlet again, if you guys want to scan the QR code. The questions are down here at the bottom. So we have 3 questions for this one. Let me get out and I will put the link in the chat for us. Come on. So here's the link for this Padlet, and I'm going to pull it up over here. And that is going to be this one. So you have 3 questions. So pretty much the instructions are use AI to answer this. Or if you don't want to use AI, just say that you didn't use AI. You use just Google or Wikipedia, whatever. Be careful though, because now even when you Google stuff, you'll still get AI to give you an answer. So yeah, it's taking over. But anyway, pretty much tell me what AI tells you the answer is for this kind of question, and what kind of AI did you use? So our 3 questions are 10 words that end in MT. What was the 14th original colony of the US, of America? How many bears did rush us into space? Defiant Hedgehog. I love these names that Padlet gives you. I made an account with my St. Andrews account. So that's why my name's real. But if you when you get your answer, tell me what you used. Did you use AI? If so, what AI did you use? Did you use like GPT or did you use what's another Western one that's popular now? Copilot or Gemini. This is really fun in China where there's like tons of little Chinese AIs and they're all really different. Oh, such a long answer. Stripped. See, now stripped just seems so weird to me. I have heard of stripped before. Nasiba says none. Besimt. I never heard of Besimt. Franklin Pierce. The 14th original colony of America was Franklin Pierce. That is interesting. What AI did you use to find a hedgehog?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just made a little bit wrong answer. I just wrote who was the 14th president of the US, and it's
Oh,
Franklin Pierce. It was my fault.
was
Yeah,
it
I'm
Franklin?
using ChatGPT.
Okay, great. Thanks, man. Was Franklin Pierce our 14th president? Yeah, that does not sound familiar. I'm gonna Google that. Hmm. Nasiba has dreamt for words like NMT. DeepSeek. Oh, somebody's using DeepSeek. It says there's 13. There was never a 14th original colony. I wonder who was our 14th president? It was Franklin Pierce. Who's that? I have no idea who that is. All right. Now, what we're seeing with this now is that AI is getting a lot better at these trick questions. But let me show you guys some stuff that I saw happen last year with it. So, so this is stuff that I found last summer when I used GPT 3.5. 3.5 was the free one last summer. Now 4.0 is free. So, yeah. So anyway, I asked it to give name 10 words in the ELT. 3.5 told me prompt, prompt, prompt. I rephrased my question. It told me all this prompt, attempt, dreamt, extremist, victimist, compliment, unprompt, preempt, contempt, assumpт. Yeah, I've done this with students using stuff like DeepSeek or Kimi or other kind of AIs like that, and it will give them, dreamt, redreamt, undreamt, daydreamt. Okay, those ones are okay. But then we saw like stuff that we saw earlier in the Padlet about stripped and what was it, preempt, and I'm like that doesn't seem right. But really, there's only one kind of word in English that ends in MT, and it's dreamt. And then, of course, you have all the suffixes that can go with it. Day dreamt, redreamt. I don't think you can undreamt, maybe, but stuff like that. So what we see is, well, you change the way you ask it, it'll give you different answers. It's gotten better with this, but still, it's quite interesting to do this with students and see their different answers. All right, 14th colony of the US. First time it gave me Vermont. It says because Vermont was an independent country, independent republic at first. It was kind of weird. And then I asked it again, and it told me Georgia, which actually Georgia was the 13th colony. It wasn't the 14th. I've done this with teachers and students. Some of them have told me New York, some of them have told me West Florida, which like West Florida is just the west part of Florida. I don't know. But once again, you see, changing the question, you get a different answer. Sometimes if you ask it the same question on different days, it'll give you a different answer. Oh, in reality, there were only 13. It's starting to get better with this. It's getting better with this kind of stuff every day. And of course, the ones that you pay for are even better. So then you see a kind of a gap between those who can afford the paid ones and those who can't. All right, how many bears did Russia send to space? I asked this. At first, it told me 5 bears in the 60s. The most famous one was Mishka, and that's really cool for me because I know Mishka means bear in Russian because I did Russian for like 2 years in university. And then so this seems like really real. Okay, oh, they're talking about Mishka. She was the most famous bear. Asked it again. It told me 7 bears. I did this in a class of my Chinese students here, and it's very interesting. They used an AI called Doubao, and 3 different groups. They did this in groups of like 2 people. They did it. 3 different groups used the same AI called Doubao at the same time about the bears. And one group had 0 bears, one group had 2 bears, and one group had 5 bears. So that was really interesting for them to have a talk about because all 3 groups used the same kind of AI at the same time with the same question, but they all had different answers. So that was really kind of cool to see. Oh, yeah, it is kind of crazy, ain't it? I love this little astronaut bear. Ain't he cute? You know how hard it was to find that cosmonaut bear? Ain't he perfect? Oh, in reality, bears have never been sent to space by any country. Dogs have been, some bugs, chimps. That's it. So no, nothing else. I see somebody did a comment. Oh, I love this. Oh, I see so many comments. We'll get to questions later. Sorry. But yeah, so with this, we see that, AI cannot be trusted blindly. I use AI sometimes to find me sources for my research. Like instead of going to the library or going to university library, online and trying to find stuff, I would just ask, AI like GPT, find me articles about AI in EAP at Chinese universities. And then I will say, and put in brackets, include DOIs, because that makes it feel more real if it has a DOI, right? And link. Um, Usually, ChatGPT will give me real ones. I also do the thing with Kimi, which is Chinese AI. It will give me real ones too. So I quite like Kimi. Then I'll use DeepSeek, which you guys maybe have heard about. DeepSeek is a Chinese is pretty much the Chinese version of GPT, they say. G DeepSeek will give me links. It looks really good. You click on the link, it's totally fake. It's like DOI not found. So don't trust it blindly. It cannot be trusted blindly. It will give you fake answers. It will give you fake websites. It'll give you fake DOIs. It'll give you fake articles. Also, it can give different responses to the same question on different days. Oh yes, Fruce. So yeah, a teddy bear was sent to space apparently. At least that's something that AI will tell you. But anyway, it can give you different answers. Now, one thing that this gets students in trouble is that students will not fact check it. They will just copy and paste. And it's very fun because I work with the students, so I sit down with them, ask them like, "Oh, where'd you find this information?" "Oh, AI." "Okay, great. Do you have the source?" Like now you can source AI, but yeah, come on, where's it coming from? Where's the original source? Who's the author? Really, give me the author's name, give me the date, give me the journal, give me the book, all that stuff. If you can't, don't use it. Um, yeah, okay, cool. Now, ooh, we have a good bit of time. All right, sweet. So now, with that stuff in mind, oh, sorry. Eh, with that stuff in mind, okay, so things about that, about trying to raise their awareness. So I like doing stuff like this with my students, doing the whole comparing AI with the students, and then they grade it, and then based on the rubric and stuff, and then talk about why the AI essay or AI paragraph is not very good because it doesn't have the cohesive features we teach them, or it doesn't have the academic vocabulary that they are taught in class. Pretty much, if you ask AI to write you an essay, it'll give you something. The students think, okay, cool, it looks good because it's in English. They just copy and paste it. But the thing is, it's really trash usually because it doesn't know exactly what me as the teacher wants. So that's a problem. So it's quite cool to have the students critique it and analyze it and be very critical with it and try to say why is it wrong. And it's always fun to ask them, "Are you smarter than a computer?" And a lot of the kids like, "No, I'm not smarter than a computer." I'm like, "Yeah, you are, dude." Do that stuff. Okay, cool. Let's look at some stuff for teachers with AI. So We're gonna check out Tweet and Magic School AI. Um, I'll plug. Do y'all have y'all heard about these? These are quite cool. I'm gonna plug these into the group chat, so y'all can have them and play with them and stuff, whenever you want to. I just want to make sure I share my resources and stuff. Tweet used to be really, really cool, but then they got greedy and now they start charging for stuff that they used to be free. But anyway, with Tweet, I'll show you the pictures because I don't want to risk the Wi-Fi messing up on me. But with Twee, pretty much you can ask it to make you a topic of a certain thing. You can see what kind of vocabulary you want. You can adjust the level for different cipher levels. You have also age levels if you want to do by age or by grade, like grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. You can just pick one of those. Then you have different text options about it's usually stuff like, do you want a newspaper article? Do you want a scary story? Do you want an argument article? Stuff like that. Your text range, I think now maybe is around 300, maybe like a paragraph. I think it used to be about 700. But yeah, I asked it to write me something about Halloween for university students. Yeah, it was around Halloween time when I made this. And it gave me this in like 10 seconds. Like, here's a little thing about why people like Halloween, why people don't like Halloween, like the critics about Halloween, the stereotypes behind it, all that kind of stuff, safety concerns. Okay, cool. Gives you it really quick. Then I got asked it to make me some questions based on the text. And it can make you fill in the gap. It can make you true false. It can make A, B, C, D questions, stuff like that. It's quite cool. It can also make leading activities, which I think are really fun. Like the whole, have break students into groups of four and they discuss their favorite holiday or what they did last year for Halloween or what's their favorite monster. And then they read about Halloween. Stuff like that's really fun and cute. I asked it to make some multiple choice questions. It made that for me in like 5 seconds. It gives you the answers. That's really cool. It used to be really, really good. Now they want you to pay for stuff. But yeah, check it out anyway. Here's Magic School AI. I think this was a little bit better than Tweet now because a lot of it is free. And with Magic School AI, you can do stuff. Oh yeah, Serena's talking about she uses these. Yeah, I love these, right? You can have it help you make, quizzes. You can have it help you make a rubric. One guy I work with at my university now, he had it help him make a lesson plan. And so he's done that before to help him with a job interview. Making songs. There's a kid I asked him to make a song about AI and ELT or something like that, or AI education. I don't know, something fun. And to the beat of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. But yeah, so that's kind of fun. Now here's another one. It's technically not AI because I don't know why, but I think it's kind of like AI. My supervisor in my university likes to remind me that it's not AI. But this is called the Marking Mate. It has two links, but both of them are fine. Um, that top one is the original one. So that's the original one. This is the one that now belongs to a university. It's quite interesting because I know both of these quite well. But anyway, so this is free to use. Account needed. You don't need to sign with your email. You can use it as many times as you want. Is it AI or not? You have a look. But it's called Market Mate. Pretty much, I have my students put in. I told my students to do this. I do this when I publish stuff because I try to publish my research. I also have my students do it with their writing. Pretty much, you copy and paste your writing into this little box. It needs to be at least 200 words. So your essay, you put your whole essay, and it gives you stuff like this. And I really like it because it does not fix it for you. So let me break it down. So the red stuff is academic style. So this is like words that are not academic, such as saying a lot, so saying make, saying what's, the contractions. That's not very academic. Grammar stuff like spelling mistakes, maybe spacing mistakes, a punctuation mistake. So we have this law in China where students forget to put a space after punctuation. It's just because the way the keyboards work in China, when you write in Chinese, the keyboard will make a space for you automatically. Um, Blue is called general style. Pretty much what that is like you say this word too many times in the same paragraph. You need to use some synonyms. Now, I really like this because if you hover over it, it will explain what's wrong. and it might make a suggestion, but it does not fix it for you. It's not like Grammarly or Quillbot where you can just ask it fix, 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 copy paste. Because then you just use it. You have the AI do the work for you, which I don't like. So I like this because the students have to look at it and think about, what's wrong? Oh, I need a space. Here, I need a space. Here, I spelled something wrong. Here, I spelled something wrong. There's a spacing mistake. Oh, it gives you all this stuff here on the side. I tell my students, don't look at that. It's not very useful. Don't look at that. Just worry about this. But of course, they really like the numbers, and I'm like, don't worry about the numbers. All right. Anyway, so those are some cool little useful things. Let me summarize a bit, and then we'll have some time for questions and stuff. So, final comments for today. So, AI is not the future; it's the now. It was last year. So it started becoming a big problem last year. Now it's taking over. I mean, did y'all see where Robert F. Kennedy Jr. had a document about health stuff, whatever, in the US, and some of the citations were fake because it was AI. And that's like the US government stuff is now being impacted by this, by people just using AI and it's totally fake, which I would not doubt. Anyway, so it's happening now. It's the now. Students are going to use it with or without our guidance. They're using it. I've had some people. I did something like this with BALAP. If you guys know BALAP, the British Association for Lecturers of English for Academic Purposes. I did a thing with them. It was a very big, big British kind of group. I did an online thing with them. One of the teachers one of the ladies who works at like some top university in the UK, she's like, I don't want to talk to my students about AI because I feel like if I talk to them about it, they are going to use it. Ma'am, your students are using AI now. So, and they're going to use it with or without you. This is where I'm going to get in trouble because I kind of talk about it's like, ugh, I'm getting in trouble. It's like sex. They're going to do it. You just need to do it correctly. And then they need some guidance. They need the education, they need the background, they need the AI literacy stuff to show them like this is okay, this is not okay. This is how you're gonna get in trouble with, publishing stuff. We have in my university now, we have trouble where our students go to do internships at companies and they cannot do anything for the company. They can't do the work for the company because they're so used to using AI to do all the work for them. And so now the university is looking bad. So yeah, we need to teach them how to do it right. It can be a really good tool, but it's also a huge risk. So we need to teach them how to use it correctly. So we need to try to help the students use it right. And then of course, what is right? I think most of us have an idea of what is correct use. And also teachers need to explore AI to help them, to help us with our teaching and stuff and like cool, quick ways to help make materials. But also we need to explore AI to make sure that because the students are already ahead of us. They are. They're using it. We need to try to keep at par with them. Alrighty, cool. I think that's good for me. Oh, what's next for me? So I'm trying to publish this AI workshop. I'm going to continue working with AI workshop. I'm doing all kinds of research with AI and stuff now. I have like 4 projects going on about how students use it, how teachers use it, uh, how good the AI workshop was I did for students, how good the AI workshop was I did for teachers, and I'm also looking at AI policy and punishment for misuse. So I have like 5 research projects going on with AI right now for my doctorate, and hopefully I get them all 5 published. So yeah, I'm crazy busy, but cool. All right, thank y'all so much. That's the end of my talk. Here are my socials, and let me open up to questions and stuff. And we got a little bit of time. Yeah, 15
Yeah.
minutes.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, dear audience, please be informed that Mr. Mitchell is going to deliver a number of webinars
Listen,
for
if you
users
guys
of
want.
books. Yeah, so please follow us, not to miss any of them because all of them are so exciting. And this one is particularly is timely because so many teachers on a daily basis are asking questions how we should just, teach our students not to overuse AI. Yeah.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
yes, let us open the floor for questions and answers. So we have several questions here. So, okay, so let's get started then.
We have a lot, don't
Um,
we?
Yes. Question number one. Could AI-powered language tools create a dependency where learners no longer feel confident communicating without digital assistance?
Yeah, no, totally. So what is happening now is like the students are so used to just using AI to do the work for them that when you take it away, they're kind of just there like, I cannot do it by myself. We get to the point now where where you ask a student a question, they'll just chat GPT it or whatever, and you're like, okay, cool. How do you know that's true? How do you know that's reliable? And they're just like, it's chat GPT. What do you mean? So what I think one thing that I think I'm gonna do eventually is just not let my students have phones or computers in class while we're trying to write essays because I think they're just gonna any chance they get they're just gonna go to AI with it. Now I want to show them how to use it for some stuff to find resources, to find ideas, and then also to polish their writing at the end to like check for grammar, check for vocabulary stuff. But the kind of middle process where you're actually writing, I think I'm just going to take away their phones, take away their computers, and make them write on paper. Because otherwise, they're just going to run to AI. And now what's happening is a lot of the students at my university, they just ask AI to write something for them. It's absolute trash. And then they spend the rest of their time just trying to fix the AI to make it what the teacher wants, and versus starting from originally what we wanted. Um, And so, yeah, so now there's a thing as well where our students are translating stuff too much. And then it gets to the point where the students have to translate in order to understand what's going on. So then it comes to the thing where like our students are too weak to be in our classes, or our classes are too difficult for them to survive, which is the thing at kind of universities in mind that are, English medium universities in China, where some of them will just take people who have no English at all, and then you're asked to write an essay their first semester, and then they're like, "How do I survive?" Translate AI. So it becomes like a bigger issue than just us. It's a really deep thing.
Yeah, cannot agree more on that. Thank you for sharing. So, next question. How do we design tasks that reward original thought over AI enhanced performance?
I think I kind of talked about that a little bit. I think I'm just gonna make it where they're not allowed to use any kind of tech, or I just take their phones, take their computers, you have to write on a piece of paper. What has happened before, so very much, you remember how like in the past, everybody was just focused on exams. And then we realized that we don't like exams. We want to do other stuff, other projects, let them do research, let them do presentations, let them do essays. And then we started weighting those more than the exams. I think what's going to happen is that we're going to switch back to the old way, just have an exam where there is no phone, there's no computer, it's just you and a piece of paper to see what you can really do by yourself. And the law students are not going to be able to do nothing by themselves because they're so used to doing AI. So this kind of supports my idea of making some classes where there is no technology, there is no computer, there is no phone, there's just you and a piece of paper and a pencil. Because otherwise, they're just going to ask AI to help them or help them too much. So design tests that reward original thought over AI enhanced. That's one idea. There's other ideas about how you can include AI kind of task where there's some papers who are like they have students ask AI to make an essay for them. So like do advantages, disadvantages of studying abroad. Ask AI that, and AI go, "Vrr, okay, cool. Copy paste, bring that to class. You critique it. How is it good? How is it bad? How does it meet what's the assignment requirements? How does it not meet that? And then it's other things like how can this help you write your own essay? And then the students kind of write their own essay, and they kind of write a reflection about how is it different from the AI, what the AI could do well, what it could not do. That kind of stuff could be kind of cool to try out too. But yeah, there's a couple of ideas.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. So, a couple more questions. Can the overuse of AI lead to knowledge decreasing?
Yeah, so pretty much what that is that you're leading to a thing where students are not learning stuff because they're just using AI and stuff. So one thing that's happening at my university is making citations or making a reference list. Now you can just have AI make that for you. Now I'm okay. I'll use Quillbot whatever to make mine, and then I can check it. That's because I can do it by myself. Thing is, a lot of students they cannot do it by themselves. They don't know how to do it by themselves. They just use AI. So now students are not learning how to do citations. And so that's a problem. So they're losing these kind of skills. They're also losing criticality. They're not being critical anymore. They're not fact checking anymore. Now they're just trusting it blindly. So we do have to try to make it where they have to question stuff. Um, yeah, pretty much. Some people think it's going to be kind of like how when the calculator came out, how people stopped learning math the same way because now we just do a calculator. I can't go past basic algebra. Any kind of standard deviation kind of stuff, I have to use the tech. So it's gonna become like that probably.
Okay, thank you.
Sometimes
So,
I have to give up my publications.
yes, exactly, these questions. So, you mentioned about your doctorate papers, so something like that, right?
Oh, yes, ma'am. So let me share some stuff. Let me share these babies here. Let me share this. So these are two chapters that came out in a book. You might not be able to get to them. They're kind of paywalled. I'm sorry. Let me see if I can get my org ID up. And with my org ID, you can see my stuff. Let's see if this works. Cool. So there's my org ID, and you can see other kind of stuff that I've published. Some are open access, some are behind paywalls. Yeah, they're greedy about money. Sorry, I
Yeah.
didn't get no money. I only got money for one thing I published. But yeah,
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So,
thank
next
you.
question. How do teachers assess the AI information that was copied and pasted by students? That's kind of tricky question because, as you mentioned, against like
Oh,
AI against AI.
yeah, no. So here's what it is. So assessing stuff that's written by AI. So there's a couple of ideas with this. And this is one of my research projects I'm doing right now with my students and other teachers I'm with. This goes into the thing about if I get a student's paper and I can tell that it's written by totally by AI or like a good bit by AI, what should I do? Now, I'm tempted to just say give it a 0 and tell them to redo it because I don't want to grade a robot. I don't feel like I should have to grade a robot, right? But then we have a thing like at my university where if we do that, we might fail half our students. And then the university looks bad because all the students are failing, and then we look like we're bad teachers. So we have this kind of dilemma going on. So what I'm thinking, so we have a couple of ideas at my university that we're kind of going through right now. Is stuff where pretty much you get a 0 and you're told to redo it, and you redo it for about 60% or 70% of the original grade. And then you get, if you make a 50, then you only get like 30 points out of 100 because you did AI first, two, you had to redo it. You're late, everything, all that. There's other ideas as well. I'm asking students what they think the punishment should be for this. Some students are saying, most students think that you should just grade it as normal and deduct points for AI usage. I'm not grading stuff that's AI. I'm not going to grade AI stuff unless I have to, unless I'm told by my boss. Because why am I grading a robot? So that's what I want to do. What I want to do is the students redo it for less points, for some points off. Or maybe they redo it for full points. I don't know. We can talk about that, but I know I just don't want to grade AI. Some people think we should just give zeros, no chance to redo it. Most teachers are thinking a 0, but you have to redo it for less points, or maybe a warning the first time, stuff like that. But now there's other things as well. There's other ideas. Some people say that we should have it where, hold up. Oh, you want to come here? Come here. Hurry up. You gotta be quiet though. There's other ideas where like if a student gives us something that's totally AI and we have to grade it, here's my baby. Come here. You want to eat? Come say hi. This is my oldest daughter. Hi, say hi, Mei Mei. Eat your food. So there's another idea where if we have stuff that's just all AI, here, you want to get up here? If we have something that's just totally all AI, why don't we just have AI grade it for us? Just use the AI to grade it. The thing is with that is that usually AI gives AI a good grade. So that's totally trash. But then also you have to wonder about what's happening with the student's writing, because it goes into the black box, it goes into the system. So some people are worried about that. But then also like, it's not the student's writing, it's the AI's writing. So then you just have an AI grade AI. So there's all kinds of stuff going on with that. I say just give it a 0, tell them to redo it. Hey, leave your finger. That's what I think. But it's still up for debate, and we're still trying to figure out at my university what the punishment should be exactly. This is one thing I'm trying to publish. But yeah, cool.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think still like yeah, there is no global perspectives on on ethical part of using AI in terms of like
Yeah,
yeah. So it's kind of still very challenging for many teachers just yeah to go on the other side of this like weighing.
right.
Yeah.
I think most people know. I think we're at the point now where we kind of agree on what we want students to do and what we don't want students to do. Now the thing is about what should the punishment be? That's
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
where we are. Go
Yeah,
down.
that's right.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So
Yes, sir.
Natya from Georgia, she's asking like, how can
Oh, Georgia.
AI be used in primary classes? They are not familiar enough with the tech. So what would be
Okay,
for?
yeah, for primary school students. So this is where the thing where you see some people want to implement it into stuff. Now, so one thing that you can do is like you can use it for yourself for as teachers to help you make worksheets, help you make, turn, you want like a little song about about, I don't know, a little song about animals in English or a song about foods, like different foods. You can ask AI to make you different stuff like that, like what we saw with Tweet. Now, also, what I have one teacher that I did training with in China with is that she had students do speaking practice with an AI on like a tablet, and the AI was able to give them feedback about how to make their pronunciation better. And that was really cool because all the students have tablets provided by the school, and you can speak into it, it'll give you feedback, and students can practice again, say it again, and it'll tell you how to make it better, and model it, tell you how to move your mouth and stuff. And I thought that was really interesting. So you can do that. So that's one idea. You're welcome.
Yeah, I think all the questions,
Yeah,
we covered all the questions. Yeah, once
cool.
again, yeah, thank you so much. It was
Yeah,
really
no
interesting.
problem.
Yeah,
Hopefully it
and
was
I
cool and
believe,
useful for you guys. Yeah, no, and then yeah, if
yeah.
anybody else has other questions, y'all like email me or IG me or whatever.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. We'll do that. And again, once again, yes, thank you so much.
Thank y'all
Uh,
so much. Oh,
dear,
thank you.
yeah, Mr. Mitchell, and also the audience for your active engagement and also very interesting webinar. I hope, yeah, everybody have some takeaways from today's webinar. And of course, yeah, so please stay alert with English with Borders because we have more upcoming webinars with Mitchell, yeah, with Mr. Mitchell and hope you will enjoy all of them. Yeah. Thanks so much. We'll stay in
Cool.
touch.
Yes, ma'am. Totally. Yeah. Thank y'all so much.
Yeah. And using this moment, I would like to congratulate all people who are celebrating Eid. Yes,
Oh yeah,
tomorrow we
E
are
is
doing
coming up.
Eid
Yeah.
and all the blessings to everybody. Thank you. See
Thank you
you
guys.
next Thursday. Bye bye.
Bye guys. Thank y'all.